Okay, it's working? Okay, it's working? Pretty much. Basically, last time we beat FNAF 2. Now that I've got my headphones, we can beat FNAF 1 and 4. We're not trying for 3, we're probably gonna do it last. Let's see. Headphones are on. Can y'all hear me with the headphones? Someone's watching. Can you hear me with the headphones? Yo, bro, can you hear me with the headphones on? Um, Bro, can y'all hear me with the headphones? Hello? Anyone? Yep. Yo, can I hear what the headphones are? And just, it should work now, I think. Wait a sec. Bro, come on. Why is it not working? Why is it not working? Can y'all hear me now? Can y'all hear me now? Well, looks like I can't hear these headphones. I can't speak with these headphones. Well, first we're going to have to finish the dark rooms with dark room baby and whatever twisted things. Or I genuinely forgot you existed. Dark room with baby. Let's see. We're gonna have to keep our flashlight on to make sure she's all well and stable. We don't get jump scared. Let's go take a couple attempts. Wait. Oh crap. What? Wait, is there actually one person watching or is it just like bugged? Try again. I swear, every time I click, it's some sort of mini vacation or something. I started streaming. Oh, there you are. Wait. New. Well, I'm cooked. I'm try. Ah. What do you mean follow instructions? Ah, okay. I'm not following what it says flashlight battery, Vertex exam, nothing else. Cheats. Wait. Oh, I give up. I don't get it. What do I do? Yeah, I'm not doing the hardest one. Wow. Okay, let's see. Oh, a lot of people like you for the wrong reasons. Okay. Why do you exist? Genuinely, why? Can't even throw you. You're gonna just stand there. Okay. I can understand the figure of you, but you're not even in the real game. You're just a host. Okay, you don't deserve a figure. Now you got telekinesis, huh? Copy paste. Spring trap. Uh, yeah, you're right. You're not real. No, see, is the first thing gonna be that bad? Wait, we have to use our volume here. Like we're actually gonna have to, Let's do it first. Ow. Oh, no. I'm gonna go just. But breathing is really. Why is it? No, the girl is breathing it so much chaotic. That was breathing. That was 100% breathing. You can stop making a mess in the kitchen. Holy fuck. Ain't nothing here. Yes, the breathing is so quiet. You don't really realize it's breathing until it's too late. It's 5 a.m. But it's just so. Only one completed. Nah. Boy, I got shoot. One token. I got one token out of that. The entire thing. I got one token.
We hope you're enjoying the Fazbear virtual experience. Please be aware that there may be visual artifacts left behind from the beta testing phase of development. If you see any such artifacts, we recommend that you not interact with them. We'll weed them out eventually. There's no guarantee that we'll weed them out eventually. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
I was told I had 3 days to finish Jeremy's work, but I know it's just passing the time. They don't really expect me to do anything. It's just to keep up appearances until the buyout is
I've
complete.
got 5 more
We have
tapes
to
to
look
to get.
weird things under control. There's another potential development studio that wants to pick up from here, but who knows what kind of lies they're being fed to convince them to do it. Against my better judgment, I'm going to do my best to see what's here, make notes of it, and try to isolate where this thing is hiding. At least then, the next person that tests this will have a chance of getting rid of it. Today was my last day of beta testing, and the anomaly that I've been seeing is nowhere to be found. But after inspecting some of the files, it seems that it's attached itself to these logs. My logs. That can't be an accident. So now I have to make a choice. Do I leave these logs here for you to find, or do I try to purge this thing myself by destroying the logs? I've chosen the latter.
There's 5 more tapes that I actually collect to get. There are a total of 16 tapes. Okay, I'm gonna try vent repair. Guess I genuinely think I can do this. I mean, I guess, but like, I don't know why you have to be so precise. Like, you have to do it in a specific time.
Welcome to Circus Baby's Entertainment. 0 days since last incident. Emergency
Okay.
ventilation repairs may be necessary to reach the boiler room on sub-basement G. We apologize for the claustrophobic accommodations of the secondary service elevator, but the comfort of the main elevator is well above your pay grade. Now, let's get to
It's the
work.
gas leak thing. Well, let's see. This is well over my pay grade, so I better get a raise for this. Bullshit. Wait, I'm in the break room. Wait a minute. Uh,
Well done.
sorry. pretty old. Refreshing.
Well done. Well done.
Wow, that was a risky move. No! What? Why? How can we just I don't know, fix this? But let's fix the detected mass. I don't want. I don't know. You're not a secret. Yeah. Oh, shit. This is gonna be hard, isn't it? Yeah, now. Yeah. Fuck. Please give me a checkpoint. Oh wait, of course it doesn't. Okay, let's see.
Motion trigger. Secondary service elevator ventilation shaft.
Huh? I can see you, you know. What the? What do I do? Guys, the brightness is down. Oh, but that's. Where did I put that gear? There we go. Push back. Push back. Push back! Here we go. I'm gonna activate the power module. Game, help me! Game! Okay. Oh no. Game? How about we stop tweaking and actually help me? Oh god! Okay. Oh, come on! It's gonna come out and chop my ass up! Like a fool on steak! Uh, what? Okay, 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 also I can't, oh, oh no, wait a minute. No shadows or effects if I want to complete this. Oh. Yep, I get it, I get it, I get it, I get it.
Welcome to
Yeah.
and rental. It has been
Okay, let's just continue on.
Motion trigger. Breaker room.
They're off, aren't they? Okay, so this, that would be this, this, that, and that would be that. Okay.
Well done.
Good chill. Oh, chill, my guy. What are you doing at the vent anyway? How are you even fitting?
Welcome to Circus Babies Entertainment and Rental. It has been
Okay. It's definitely something related to the gas influence.
Motion trigger. Breaker room.
Wow. It's supposed to be some bad tech.
well done. Well done.
Okay. Oh, come on! What the?
Welcome to Circus Babies Entertainment and Rental.
I don't care.
It has been
Motion trigger. Breaker room.
Okay. Alright, okay, this.
well done. Well done.
This game makes absolutely no fucking sense. Okay, let me get this straight. If I stay there doing nothing for 5 minutes straight, And that mistake once. They just let me live. But if I get one, but if I get a combination of buttons wrong 4 times in a row, you kill me? What?
Welcome to Service
I
Baby's
don't
Entertainment and
care.
it has been zero.
I am really impatient.
Motion trigger. Breaker room.
Wow. I didn't know I was in the breaking room. Did you know I was in the breaking room? Wow.
Well done.
I'm not trying to.
Well done.
Okay.
Well done.
Oh, there's nothing I can do. Just. Now the graphics quality is way lower. The gear should load better. Because the shadows all are off. Now the graphics quality is pretty low. Do I need to actually increase my brightness? Like, in the brightness because perspective view.
Motion trigger. Secondary service elevator ventilation shaft.
Hey, where's the gear? Did the game glitch or something? Where's the gear? Dude, I actually thought they could jump scare me. Honestly, I was kind of expecting this. The gear did kind of just like disappear. Okay, but now I know exactly what I can do down there. And the fact that the skill will wait like 2 minutes just for me to repair that stupid part of the electricity thing. Okay, we get it, we get it. We're on circus babies and the gas leak. Yeah. Now Chase is unemployed, that's underpaid. And this is not supposed to anime.
Well done.
One closed. Okay.
Well done. Well done.
Motion trigger. Secondary service elevator ventilation shaft.
Well done.
Shit. Another one. Wait, you told me there's 3 floors of this thing? Yeah. Fuck. I'm cooked that out.
Motion trigger. Boiler room.
Oh no. Okay.
Well done.
Oh. Object. Make the. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay. One more. One more. Thank you. Ah, eat that, Ennard.
Perfect. 72 degrees.
Yeah. Okay, that was actually kind of fun. Oh. Food though, I guess. Oh no. That's only it's the black light levels. Oh, now I guess we're doing it on hard mode. Oh, a person's watching. What? Hi. Person watching. Oh man. Wait a minute. What? Isn't the whole point? Really, bro? No, I'm not. I don't want to talk to you right now. I'm gonna try FNAF 4 again. FNAF 1 Night 4 again. We're gonna try it again.
Oh, hey, wow, day 4. I think you can do it. Hey, listen, I may not be around to send you a message tomorrow. It's been a bad night here for me. I'm kind of glad that I recorded my messages for you when I did. Hey, do me a favor. Maybe sometime check in some whole valley. So food checks, they go up here so fast. I always wondered what was in all those empty sections.
Wait a minute, let me just pause the stream real quick.
What's up, guys? Community skins are being held back. New Rider Rally skins confirmed. Brand new Interstate teaser and some more piggy news shall be covering in this video. There's a lot more just to go over today, folks. Watch till the end and let's begin. Rider Rally is now confirmed to get some new skins. AJ Friday has confirmed the final skin for the Rider Page campaign is a creative skin Piggy. Here's what AJ had to say, and this basically confirms the Rider Page Rally will have skins. One of them has a high chance of being the Parasy alt skin, and now we got this mystery skin as well. It might be Rider Page, who knows, but what do you think this new skin is? Comment down below. Up next, the community skins and Piggy might be taking a turn. AJ Pride has confirmed he wants there to be less skins in each update, and he wants to lessen the amount of community skins being added to Piggy, because they reduce the value of each current skin in the game. I covered a bit of this yesterday, but while this is a good idea, it seems unfair to the people who have been waiting for their skins to be added to the game. Minitoon did promise at least 20 new skins to be added, so we'll see. And finally, we got a brand new teaser for the new Interstate demo, and here it is. We can see Gene in the middle with a wood collecting quest, a small building in the back. Keep in mind the demo releases in exactly a week, and I'll be live streaming it as well, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the latest and greatest Piggy news, updates, leaks, or info. Until next time, folks, have an amazing and awesome day.
Jax from the Amazing Digital Circus is not who he appears to be. Sure, he's hidden his true thoughts and feelings for this entire show, but beyond that, there might be an even bigger secret that this purple rabbit is hiding, and to find it, we gotta get digging. Hello, internets! Welcome to Film Theory, the show that can escape if you just push that big red subscribe button. Go on, just slap it. Please, it's right there! And real quick, but special announcement, in the near future, you're gonna see an entire movie get uploaded to this channel. Yeah, the movie studio Lionsgate reached out to us and asked if we were interested in posting some of their movies completely for free. And I said, yeah, of course. So I just didn't want that catch you completely off guard. Here's your heads up. Also, expect to see a bonus theory about that movie later in the week. It's a fun experiment. But anyway, back to the Amazing Digital Circus. So the finale for the Amazing Digital Circus is almost here. And man, this is just such an exciting time to be a fan of indie animation. The Digital Circus fandom and subreddit are some of the most passionate out there, theorizing and dissecting every second and frame of this show. And you know, I wanted one last go at it before talked out just how tragic the story of the Amazing Digital Circus's ringleader, Kane, really was. Something even more evident thanks to his death in episode 8. And I originally had a small section at the end of that script talking about how Kane's demise was going to leave a power vacuum open for another character to step up into the role of the bad guy. But, well, that last video was 25 minutes long, and that small section kept growing into a multi-page idea. So I had to call it. That needed to be its own video. So here we are. Let's not waste any time, loyal theorists. The circus is falling apart, and along with it, so is Jax. So grab a bucket and throw it on your head, because we're diving straight on in. So a lot has been going on with Jax since we last really checked in with him and talked about how his character was going. We've learned about his philosophy in the circus, about how he believes that the castmates all fall into archetypes and that they should just embody them, about how he used to be close friends with other characters like Ribbit before she abstracted, about how so much of his his prickly jerk persona is just armor that he wears so he doesn't let anyone else in. And in episode 7, we see Jax pushed almost to his breaking point. Like, legit, Jax almost abstracts at the beginning of that story, in a scene that accurately recreates how it looks and feels to not sleep for a few days. Shout outs to Insomnia, it's not a fun time, kids. Then, at the climax of this adventure, when it looks like the cast may have a chance to actually escape, Jax rushes forward and pushes the button that means they all stay. It's a huge moment for the character, and one that also reveals just how futile the attempt to escape even is, since nothing about this adventure or escape was even real. And somehow, it just doesn't end there for new insights we get into Jax. There's a great moment in episode 8 where the cast are doing their best to distract Kane while Kinger goes into the code of the circus to change Kane. However, Kane starts to catch on.
If I didn't know any better, it seems like you're trying to. Where's Kinger?
Just terrifying line delivery there, to be honest. And in a last-ditch attempt to keep Kane's hundreds of all-seeing eyes off Kinger, Pomni makes a pretty dangerous choice.
Your ideas suck!
She starts antagonizing Kane as a last resort, and the others follow suit. And they just really lay into him, telling him that they make fun of his adventures behind his back. They vent about their real feelings, and as we've talked about in the last episode, this really preys on Kane's weaknesses and fears. And of course, this causes our smiling friend to just absolutely crash out as he glitches and distorts. What comes next is a bit of a window into what each of our characters really fear. They're taken to dark voids where they're antagonized by, well, a lot of things. Pomni is attacked by realistic candy crocodiles resembling Gummy Goo and his friends from episode 2, mauling her and biting into her limbs. Ragatha is forced to sit at a dining table with several other dolls who have been stabbed with knives. A figure stands at the head of the table resembling a distorted version of Ragatha herself, and knives start flying into Ragatha's doll body. Gangle is thrown into a room full of art representing her comedy and tragedy masks, while Zubul is taken to a room with hundreds or thousands of body parts, trying to drag them down, all while being forced to look in a mirror. Oh, hey, wait, do you see that thing in the mirror? What is that?
But what happens when 3 people sit around a cauldron and debate the spiciest steaks we can find? This is dead wrong.
If you're going from like a vibes perspective, I don't know games.
That's impressive.
Cool substance habits, the deep lore of everything from Game of Thrones to the Powerpuff Girls to how the Avengers would all be, fighting each other, if you know what I'm saying. Don't worry, nothing here on YouTube is going away. That will always be free. This is just even more from us, and I am so excited for you to see it when it launches later this month. We'll have more info soon, so stay tuned, but for now, back to the amazing digital circus. Now, on the face of things, every one of these situations is terrifying, but if you've been following our theories, you'll also know that each of them have an additional layer. Each of the castmates' bodies have been created to perfectly represent their mind files, as Kane put it, but that also means that they've incorporated much of their own insecurities and mental struggles into those bodies. We've talked at length about how Zubul struggles with body dysmorphia similar to many non-binary folks. And though we can't diagnose her, Gangle does exhibit many of the symptoms of bipolar disorder, represented by those masks. Like, of course, those details would haunt those two here. Gangle's section also incorporates art becoming, like, monstrous, using details from her backstory as a quote-unquote failed artist, and ends with her getting hit by a truck. That's a detail from episode 4 that I've never really found a way to bring up, but it's heavily implied that Gangle was involved in some sort of automotive collision that caused some deep-seated trauma. Something perfect for Kane to pick up here for these horror sessions. And using that as a jumping-off point, we can learn a lot about the other members of the cast here. The fact that Pomni is haunted by monstrous versions of Gummy Goo and his friends probably tells us that she feels really guilty about them in some way. That what she might view as a failure to help Gummy Goo escape is metaphorically gnawing on her, like the crocodiles are literally gnawing on her. As for Agatha, clearly showing us some form of familial trauma. Being at this dinner table is the opposite of a safe place for Agatha, and this figure in the shadows, this silhouette, which may represent her mother or matriarch of this family, is hurting her. She's disappointed it in some way. Or perhaps this is a reflection of Ragatha and she's worried that she is like this, or becoming like this. Perhaps turning into her mother? There's a lot here, but the vision that Jax sees and why we've spent so much time talking about it here is just fascinating. See, in his space, he's surrounded by silhouettes that are laughing at him, and at first they appear to just be regular default people, but as they spin and spin around Jax, we see them approach and turn into silhouettes resembling Pomni, Kaufmo, and Ribbit. Yeah, the clown who abstracted in the first episode and the frog we've seen in other flashback material. As the story has gone on, we've seen how close that Kaufmo and Ribbit were to Jax. These three were a group of good friends, which also makes it tragic that Jax doesn't allow himself to publicly grieve for Kaufmo after we see him abstract in episode 1 and during his funeral in episode 2. We also see his friendship with Pomni slowly develop throughout the series. How they became close, how Jax pushes Pomni away after he realizes just how much he's opened up to her, and how she doesn't let him get away with it. But it doesn't stop there. Eventually, these silhouettes pull on Jax, and in what might be one of the most brutal moments in this show, they literally rip the skin off of this cartoon rabbit. He becomes a bare, almost wooden-looking rabbit outline. I mean, you don't get much clearer than this, right? Jax is terrified of opening up to others because of the way he's worried that they're gonna react. His biggest fear here, the thing that Kane is playing off of, are the people Jax cares about the most laughing at him, ridiculing him, that their relationships weren't real and never were, and that they won't like the real Jax underneath it all. Funnily enough, that's very similar to what Kane was feeling, isn't it? Wanting the validation of the people they really care about. Which also makes me wonder how exactly Jax is going to respond to the current predicament the cast find themselves in at the end of the episode. See, in episode 7, when Jax freaked out and chose the option that would keep the cast in the circus, even though it didn't end up being a real choice, the rest of the characters were furious with Jax for ruining the adventure and their chance to escape, whether or not it actually would work.
Well, really hate to say it, guys, but I
Don't
told
you even. Do not even begin to say that sentence like you didn't try to keep us all trapped here forever.
Cast offer that same energy to Kinger for quote unquote messing up too? And when they likely won't, will that make Jax angry that they weren't upset at Kinger like they were at him? Honestly, it's enough to make me worry about where exactly Jax is going here. Like, as a character. And that's only been compounded by other details that keep popping up. See, the poster for the theatrical release of the last act does feature all of the characters, but one more prominently than the others. Yes, Pomni, Zubul, Kinger, Gangle, and Ragatha are all walking through this maze, but Jax's head and face are all over this. In fact, this whole topsy-turvy version of the circus is like coming out of his head. It's like an M.C. Escher painting. Likewise, the thumbnail for the trailer for episode 9 is just a close-up on Jax's face, but it's different. Gone are the emotions, the fear and the funny, and in its place we see unnaturally wide eyes and an uncanny smile. This right here is the look of a horror villain. Now, to be clear, they've used imagery and shots of these characters that didn't make it into the final episodes as thumbnails for the trailers before, so that doesn't necessarily mean that this is going to be in the show itself. But, just like they used an image of Kane standing in for Truman in a thumbnail inspired by the Truman Show, they are clearly signaling intent here. Jax is the villain, the bad guy, or at the very least, the antagonist for the final part of this story. Now, to be clear, I'm not trying to say that Jax has secretly been plotting this, that he is actually an evil AI buried deep inside of the circus that wanted Kane gone and is now unshackled and can torture the rest of the cast. While I did think that might be the direction they were going at some point, now it's a much better story if Jax is himself a tragic character that can't deal with this new reality and steps up into that sort of ringleader role here in the broken circus. We know that characters can all conjure or change things like Kane could, but they're just not as naturally good at it. Well, that leaves open a lot of space for one of them to really step up into that role, to become that good, and to use those conjuring powers to become the next Kane. so to speak. And of everyone, even Kinger, Jax seems to have the most control here in the circus.
You can pretty much do whatever you want. Just let loose.
But there may be another reason why Jax would be a good fit to step up into this villain or antagonist role, into the ringleader. See, despite basically being the second most important character in the show behind Pomni, how much do we actually know about Jax and his backstory? Like, hard facts. What has he told us versus how much that we've had to infer? We know that he's scared of corn, we figured out that he was close to Kaufmo and Rivet, and we know that his cruel personality is more of a coping mechanism than what he actually is and wants to be. And it doesn't seem like he actually has anyone that misses him, or even knows that he's in the circus.
What's the rush? You got someone waiting for you outside?
Don't you?
Yeah.
There may have been other tidbits of information here or there that Gooseworks has mentioned online, but that's all we really know about Jax that we see for sure. So I have to wonder, is Jax really who he thinks he is? Is he actually who we're being led to believe? Now, I know, this series doesn't really lean into the idea of big reveals or twists you can theorize about. We've talked about that in depth, but listen, man, Jax has been acting weird, like beyond just freaking out and almost abstracting. Jax has really been acting out of character. When it looks like the group might actually escape the circus, Jax starts freaking out. He's hyperventilating, and like we said at the top of the episode, he freaks out and aborts the adventure. It's possible that he's terrified to leave because he's lonely or doesn't like the life he left behind, but what if he doesn't actually know a life outside of the circus? Like, he literally didn't have one. On top of that, did you notice Jax's reaction here during Kinger's exposition dump?
What is going on right now?
He's not being his typical self. He's not making snide comments or sniping at anyone else. He looks genuinely confused. Now, this could be for a lot of reasons. I mean, they are getting pretty life-changing information here, but Jax's typical reaction to even that is ridicule. It's to laugh in the face of the terrible circumstances they're stuck in or deflect the feelings of his castmates into jokes and jabs. That's not what's happening here. And not only that, but he ends this interaction early.
I should go distract Kane so he doesn't listen in on this.
And then he just leaves. And right after getting outside, he says,
Oh my god, this is real.
this is such a visceral experience. We hear the ringing in Jax's ears. The pupils on his eyes start freaking out. He is having a panic attack, almost on the verge of abstraction, all because of the revelations made here. Or perhaps because of one very specific revelation. Listen to this.
His circus name was Scratch. That man was a genius.
Wait,
Notice how Jax is basically hyperventilating in the back here at the mere mention of Scratch and his real life? At all of this backstory lore info dump about how the circus was created and who created it? Well, given the idea that we think Scratch helped create the circus to find a way to live despite the tumor in his brain, well, what if it worked? What if somehow Jax is Scratch? A new version of this character somehow recycled and resurrected back into the circus. Does that sound out there? Yes, it absolutely does, and I wasn't even sure I wanted to talk about it. Until I heard this. Yeah, the thing that solidified this idea for me was the fandom pointing out that when you play the clip of Pomni saying Jax's name from the episode 9 trailer backwards, it sounds like she's saying something else. Listen.
Jax? Scratch?
Did you hear that? Here, listen again.
Jax? Scratch?
She's saying Scratch. Now, part of me is still skeptical here. I mean, we've tried to theorize time and time again about the deep secrets of the series, only to be met time and time again with no as an answer. I just can't get around the fact that some hidden lore and complex way out of this situation just doesn't seem to be the direction this series is going. This is very much a show about accepting the hand that you've been dealt, finding meaning in a life that isn't glitzed up to the max, and being happy with the good things that you do have. And that's why I'm hesitant to plant a flag and say something like Jax is secretly not Jax. But the connections here are a lot. It's enough that I'm planting that flag, and I can't wait to see if I'm right or so very wrong. And I'm not gonna lie, it would be absolutely crazy if it was revealed that Jax is actually secretly an AI, and I'd freaking crash out, I'm not gonna lie. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut. Up next on Film Theory, Kane from the amazing digital circus is dead and gone.
Hai acum un app Emacs și primești 50 de lei la prima ta comandă. Descarcă aplicația.
Cu Decathlon, mișcarea inspiră noi pasiuni. Aici găsești mereu echipamentul potrivit pentru pedalat, drumeții, fitness sau orice alt sport la un preț accesibil. Decathlon. Sport pentru toți, totul pentru sport.
Kane from the Amazing Digital Circus is dead and gone. But his life was a tragic one, and now we have to pick up the pieces of what's left. Today's theory was brought to you by Squarespace, but more about that in a bit. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory, the show that just saw the subscribe button abstract. Maybe if we go click on it, we can calm it down. So now that we've gotten a chance to digest everything that's happened with the Amazing Digital Circus Episode 8, I wanted to sit down and have a proper look at what's happened. Right? Like, did you hear that Episode 9 is going to be twice as long as Episode 8? And they're actually releasing it in theaters? Yeah, Glitch teamed up with some theater chains throughout North America to release both Episode 8 and 9 together as The Amazing Digital Circus The Last Act. Tickets actually sold out, like, immediately, and I managed to snag some, so I'll be there in my Film Theory 10th Anniversary hoodie, available at theoryware.store, and expect a theory about that episode as soon as we can make one. And it's been such a hit that they're already adding more theaters in more countries. Now, in most situations, this would be an unequivocal win for both Glitch and independent animation. I mean, independent creators as a whole, really. Both this and Iron Lung are proving that there's real interest in creative ideas from anywhere, especially from indie artists. You did that, and you should be proud. But this has also come with a big asterisk. A lot of the Digital Circus community are upset that this is releasing 2 weeks before the YouTube upload drops. So for a couple of weeks, there are going to be spoilers and pirated clips filmed in the theaters out in the wild before everyone is going to have a chance to see this finale. There are a lot of fans who either missed getting one of those limited tickets, live in rural areas that are nowhere near a participating theater, or can't afford to make a trip to the theaters for this event. They vocalized that frustration, and Glitch actually responded in a very long post about it. Honestly, this was probably the best thing they could have done in this situation. They say here that if this works and is successful, which it appears like it is, it's gonna be a game changer for everyone, not just for Glitch. There'll be a proven example that this sort of independent animation can be successful in theaters at a wide scale, and that opens doors. I mean, just look at what Markiplier and Iron Lung did. Sony took one look at that and greenlit a Bloodborne movie from Jacksepticeye. Do you know how difficult it is to get them to do anything with Bloodborne? But it took a lot of negotiations with theaters to even let them release the episode online this close to the theatrical release. At the same time, I really sympathize with all the fans who can't see it before the upload. If you're in that situation, your feelings are absolutely valid and there's no two ways about it. This sucks, but thankfully there is something you can do about it. If you want to see this in theaters and none nearby are showing it, respectfully reach out to the chain and politely let them know that you want to. Doing this has already gotten theaters in more countries to carry the film, and they're adding dates all the way through the release of the episode online. If anything, that just makes this release even more of a win-win for everyone involved. Still, for those who won't get the chance, it's really on the community to rally here and be sure not to spoil anything until the full episode releases online. I mean, I know I'm going to be keeping my mouth shut, and our theory isn't going to release until the Sunday after the episode is up for everybody to see. So if you're lucky enough to see this in theaters, please be kind and courteous to your fellow Digital Circus fans. Don't give out spoilers randomly, and if you have to talk about it, clearly mark it. Cool? Cool. Alright, I didn't mean to talk about that for like 5 minutes, but it seemed like an important topic, because, well, this has never happened before. But okay, we've spent more than enough time here on that. You know what the Digital Circus is, and we all know what happened in episode 8, with Kane now being deleted and gone forever. But my friends, that is a tragedy because this is a tragic character, and I fear that whatever has been left behind now is going to be much, much worse for our cast of characters. So conjure up a computer and hack into the database, loyal theorists. Let's get right into it. So we see a lot in episode 8, like a surprising amount of lore dropped here. For example, we actually get to see and hear a lot of characters for the first time. Scratch, Queenie, and a bunch of the other characters we've only seen on the doors of rooms. But of course, that can't last as we hard cut to Queenie being the last person to abstract and Kinger finding himself alone until Ragatha arrives, looking and sounding a lot like Pomni did when she first popped in.
Marmur Art, producător și importator de piatră naturală în România, vă pune la dispoziție o gamă bogată de materiale calitative, precum marmură, travertin, granit, quartz și onyx, dar și lavoare și elemente decorative. Cei 28 de ani de experiență se traduc pentru noi în pasiune pentru artă și calitate, tehnologie modernă, grijă și profesionalism. Pentru tine înseamnă că Marmur Art îți va transforma visul în realitate.
What?
From here, we flash forward to the present. Kane goes on a bit of a power trip and reminds the castmates who's really in charge,
And since when were you in charge?
leaving them feeling understandably defeated. We're also given an info dump about the origins of the circus. During the episode, Pomni puts a bucket on Kinger's head, dipping him into darkness so that he can think more clearly, something we've talked about in previous theories. Once he grabs as many marbles as he can and regains some brain cells, Kinger explains that CNA wasn't just part of an adventure. It was a real software developer that he worked at, though not a game developer like we previously theorized.
No, we didn't make games. We were just developing artificial intelligence, specifically creative AI.
Basically, the human forms of Kinger and a bunch of the other original characters were software developers programming AI, and they created Kane. He was their first success.
Kane was our first semi-successful attempt at that.
Oh, my bad. Semi-success. Though he was still a little bit wonky. Though if they really wanted to be successful here, there are way easier methods to do so. For example, they could have just made a great service, like the sponsor for today's theory, Squarespace. If you've managed to avoid them so far and don't know, Squarespace is an all-in-one website builder that can help you create beautiful websites all in one single place. And it can be for anything you want. Do you run a small business? Want a place to store all of your crazy ideas for adventures you have that you're gonna force your friends to go on? Well, Squarespace is gonna have you covered. They'll help you build a home for all of it, thanks to their incredibly customizable website design. For real, it has built-in services that help you with everything for your business, giving you what you need to offer services, get paid, schedule appointments, and even send out emails. I mean, you gotta let people know that they can't escape the digital circus after all. Plus, it's gonna be super easy to stand out thanks to all of Squarespace's cutting-edge design tools. Using their website builder, you can start with one of Squarespace's award-winning templates, and then switch them up with their drag-and-drop editing to get a fully custom website exactly how you want. You can even make it look like the circus if you want. Squarespace domains also means that you can easily find a name for your website all in one place with an all-inclusive price. You're not going to be surprised by a bill, and each Squarespace domain has security and privacy tools, meaning that it's protected. Even Jax won't be able to get in there with his keys to anything. So if you want to start building your website today, go to squarespace.com for your free trial now. And when you're ready to launch, you can go to squarespace.com/filmtheory to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring today's theory, and let's head back into the amazing digital circus. But Kinger points to one of his colleagues as one of the leaders in the creation of Kane. We don't really get his human name, but his circus name was Scratch. Remember the dog-looking guy who was talking to Kane in that flashback? In episode 7, Kane says that Scratch was
First abstraction.
so, okay, that's neat, but so what? What does this tell us about the story here, the world, and the lore? Well, this is where we get our best explanation for what's going on with the circus and why. See, Scratch was an interesting guy. Kinger called him a genius and said that he was great at thinking outside of the box.
His ideas were often so bizarre and abstract that the rest of the team had no idea how to work in his language,
But how was he like this?
either due to pure brilliance or the tumor in his head.
Yeah, one of the folks who was helping create AI like Kane was dying. We previously theorized that Kinger helped create the circus perhaps to save his wife who may have been sick. And it looks like we were right about the broad strokes of that idea, but we just didn't identify the right character. See, I bet Scratch was the one who became obsessed with creating this sort of AI, creating a program that people could enter so they could save their brains in some way and have a digital life after death. Oh, and also, just before I forget, as the castmates are coming to grips with their new reality that there really isn't an escape and that they need to make the best of the lives that they have, something else that we called in a previous video, we also see Pomni get taken away for some weird solo adventure before she's brought back full of knives. Fun fact, but we see how this happens in a teaser Gooseworks released all the way back in 2023. Now, at first I wondered if this meant we should go back and look at all of the old teasers and ads to see if anything else was hidden in there, but Gooseworks has confirmed that most of the ads aren't canon, so we just gotta keep that in mind. Interestingly, during this lore dump, we also get an explanation for some of the stranger events in the series. You know how a lot of the characters have been able to do some strange things throughout the run of the show? Stuff like Jack standing on the side of a falling truck, or Pomni suddenly being super good with guns, or Kinger healing Ragatha with the butterfly he created out of nothing. Well, that was because the castmates can create things in this world too.
We all technically have the ability to conjure.
They can tweak the code of the circus and add things just like Kane, and this has wide-reaching effects. For example, I bet that this is how Jax was able to get the keys for everyone's rooms when he shouldn't have. And it's also how Pomni encountered the exit door in episode 1. She conjured it because she so desperately wanted it. And using that, she's able to conjure it again so Kinger can get access to a computer to change Kane or to put him to sleep. That actually becomes the plan and the plot in this episode. The rest of the cast try to distract Kane as best they can until Kinger can do this, but, well, things don't go so well.
I'm gonna fuck you right in your eyes.
Not only that, but, well, Kinger accidentally deletes Kane.
Wait,
I think I accidentally killed Kane.
Yeah, while navigating this weird, archaic code, Kinger erases Kane from the circus and basically destroys the circus as we know it. Sadly and ironically, if you pause and zoom in on the code Kinger is trying to input here, he really didn't mean to kill Kane. You can see that the console is being incredibly difficult and unclear in its questions, and after Kinger hits yes on a prompt, he also desperately tries to undo it before Kane is erased. It's kind of sad, and even more so when you remember that Kinger created Kane, so he kind of murdered his own son. Oops, that really sucks. Even if he was kind of psychotic and tortured you and your wife and your friends and strangers and probably animals too at some point. Anyway, that's a lot of the smaller details I wanted to talk about, but as you can tell, they all lead to one place, Kane. So now that we've gotten a chance to digest everything with the Amazing Digital Circus episode 8, what's going on with Kane? Well, despite his death, and as the voice actor confirmed he is dead, this episode really gives us a wrap up on his story arcs, his thought process, and, well, the tragedy of his existence. Let's go through it. It's a bit, well, abstract, but this episode gives us a look at Kane's origins and tells us a lot about why he acts the way he does. Yeah, on top of Kinger explaining this a bit later in the episode,
He was one of my greatest achievements as a programmer.
You made Kane?
Partially, yes.
we literally see it happen. We open on a sort of low-tech looking scene with a red dot on a simple background. This is clearly supposed to represent Kane in his sort of infantile stage. It's baby Kane. Anyway, he's then fed several other red dots from off-screen and we see flashes of images, presents, and carnival attractions, and hot air balloons, and tents. A lot of circus imagery, basically. So this is Kane being programmed, right? And things seem to go well. He starts creating shapes. Simple, boring stuff, sure, but it's all working and clear. However, right after this, he's fed something else. Green data, including dinosaurs and candy and restaurants and, like, a golf course? At first, I thought that this was a second party coming in to feed Kane this information, but Kinger's discussion later in the episode really made it seem like he was the main driving force here, so I guess this was just Kane doing other stuff. And just before we continue, but isn't it interesting that all of the pictures we see here are stuff that we see used in the circus somewhere during Kane's adventures? It's just a fun little detail, but wanted to point it out. Anyway, things don't seem to go exactly to plan. With all of this new information, something starts to conflict. The shapes this little Kane dot starts producing are now odd. They're jagged and jiggly. Something has gone wrong, but things aren't entirely falling apart either. Now, a third stream of information is sent in, this one blue, and this one includes shots of the CNA headquarters. And this just, well, it breaks the Kane dots. Everything it starts to create is just wrong now. Clearly, whatever was added here is just completely incompatible and is just corrupted little Kane Dot's AI. So the powers that be go and do the only thing that they really can here. They lock this little Kane AI in a box and move on. Might have just made more sense to delete it, but who am I to judge? I ain't got no degree in computer science. We then see a new AI pop up here, a blue dot. I'm gonna call this one Abel, unrelated to the NPC from episode 7, but just roll with me here, it'll make sense in a second. A fourth feed of information is sent in here represented by yellow data, and it results in an AI that makes things just fine. But where the Kane AI breaks free and consumes the Abel AI, it then creates the digital circus